Everybody has a story, but not everybody knows how to tell it the right way. If you're anything like most of the people I work with, you have a lot of things to tell the world. You've been through a lot, you've done a lot, you've overcome a lot. But what parts do you share? What parts do you keep to yourself? What parts are good to help your brand? What parts might stick with you for the rest of your life? Today we're going to talk about that and more, about why you need to tell your story and how to tell it the right way. And we're going to do it using a little connectology. Hey, I'm your connection coach, Jonathan Sprinkles. I've been working with people in business just like you who have done a lot, have overcome a lot, have done great things. You might even feel like you have a speech, a book, a story in you, but a lot of people are really confused about how to tell the story the right way. Some people are even wondering whether they should even tell it at all or whether they should keep it to themselves. Well, I understand, and I've been there as well. There are parts of my life that I tell that were really difficult at first for me to tell, and the other parts I still keep to myself, and that's just a part of my personal story, and that's for me to know and for me to draw strength from. And there's a big difference between having a story and knowing how to tell your story the right way. There's three major benefits to telling your story the right way. Number one, it will humanize you. When people learn your story, they'll no longer focus on the persona. They'll get to know the person. They'll understand your why. They'll understand what you had to go through in order to get to where you are. So yes, you may have some accomplishments. Yes, you may have accumulated some wealth. Yes, you may have some knowledge, some degrees. Yes, you may have some really great accomplishments that come along with your life. But when they understand all that you had to go through, externally as well as internally, the low self-esteem or challenges you might have had, health issues you might have overcome, how you might not have been picked as the one to be the most successful, how you had to come over everything in order to get to where you are now. People start to see more of you and they say, oh, they're just like me. And when you are more humanized, they will soon forgive you for any mistakes that you might make because they understand how you too are human just like them. Who's the most popular billionaire in the world? Oprah Winfrey. As a matter of fact, Oprah is so good at humanizing herself because of her story that we actually forget that she's a billionaire. People say, oh, that's my girl. I wish I could just hang out with her. It doesn't matter where you are, where you're from. There are people of all walks of life, both genders, male and female. It doesn't matter. There are people from all over who say, the number one person who I'd like to meet or interview or hang out with is Oprah Winfrey. Largely because of the fact that she spent 25 years crying with people, relating to people, identifying with people, all because of her story of where she began. See, when you tell your story the right way and it humanizes you, people understand all that you had to go through in order to get to. So rather than you bragging about where you are, it will then be everyone's victory as we celebrate yet another success story. The second major benefit is that it galvanizes your people. People who hear your story fall in love with you because they then say, that's my guy, that's my girl, forever. Why? Because what we just mentioned was the fact that they identify with elements of what you've been through. And that's why people say, I am now with you, I'm for you, we are one. So now not only has it created more humanity, now you created a group of people who have linked themselves to you, and they now say, I am with you. So just by telling your story, you've now began to grow your following, grow the people who love you. Stories are unique because your points can't do that. That point, that statistic was amazing. Oh my gosh. Nobody says that about anything that comes from here. They always say it about what comes from here. And there's nothing more personal than your story. The third and final benefit of you telling your story is that it protects you. See, when you're the first person to tell your story, it is assumed that you are the one who's telling the truth. You'd better say it before they do. You beat everybody to the punch. You say it so well, you say it so eloquently, you use so many vivid word pictures that people will remember that story, so that when others come around to hate on you, they say, no, 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 I heard the story. She told me herself. She told me how she got here. No, 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 that's not true what you said. I've already heard it. So now you have insulated yourself from all the lies, the rumors, the half-truths, and the innuendo. Because when you are able to connect the dots, you own that narrative. And that's what you want to do. You always want to make sure that you're out front of everything, owning the narrative, telling people what really happened. So get out front and tell your story, and tell it in a way that's so convincing, so convicting, so compelling that people say, you're my guy, you're my girl, and I will personally protect you from anyone who says differently. That's why we say business always tastes better with sprinkles on top. And there's a big difference between, and there's a big story. Number one, they don't just focus, they no longer You want to make sure that you get out ahead, owning that narrative and making sure that nobody tells your story for you. You want to get out ahead because either you're going to tell your story or they'll tell you, come on. So get out front, tell your story, and say it in a way that's so convincing, so compelling, so, what was the other C word I said? Convincing, compelling? Just the facts, man. Just the facts. That's stupid.